Now we're back in the garage. We'll get this thrown in, get everything put back together, then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Next step, just slide this in. I'm gonna slide it over to our chain case gear and then get this long bolt over here lined up on the hole and get the bolt started. Then we'll probably have to get a screwdriver or something to get the gear lined up on the shaft. So just be careful right now that you don't knock the gear down into your chain case housing. And before we go in, I just took a rag, wiped everything clean, the housing in here where the bearing goes, and I did put just a real light thin little bit of anti-seize in there, just a thin film of it. And kind of get your shaft started into the chain case side. Then I'm gonna take a flat screwdriver. There we go. Then you get the gear pried on. Then I'm just gonna squeeze that bearing into the housing. The bearing should slide in fairly easy. You're gonna want to make sure that the this bearing here sits flush with the aluminum housing. Then you know it's seated all the way. On the bottom there, it'll sit flush. And make sure the gear is on the shaft, which that bearing won't slide in over there all the way if the gear's not on the shaft. Now, bearing retainer, and then nut. Make sure you don't drop that down into the belly pan. Get that good and tight. Let's tighten up our chain case. So I took that chain case bolt, the tensioner bolt, just 5 turns loose. That seemed to work fine. I'm gonna put a little bit of blue Loctite on this top gear retainer bolt. Take our long bolt out. Then this bolt here, that'll get torqued to 35 foot-pounds. Torque that gear down, get the belt back on, and put this breather plug back over your chain case housing. Then should be good to go. So this bolt here that you use to hold up your top gear, it's just a M10 bolt. It's not fine thread, just coarse thread, and it's 7mm. Looks to be 2 3/4. If you can find a little bit longer one, say 3.5 or 4 inch, that would be really handy. But I think I had a hard time. I just got this one at Menards. That was probably the longest one they had, but yeah, at least 2 3/4, 3-inch bolt, just a M10 normal threads. That's all you need. Otherwise, I back shift. They probably have some fancy tool for 50 or 60 bucks, but who wants to spend the extra money on that, right? But otherwise, that spring compressor tool that I did have to use, I think that was 60 or 80 bucks for my back shift. Like I said, that tool is pretty much a must-have necessity for this job, but otherwise there's really no other special tools needed. So just other than something to get those roll pins in and out so you don't mess those up. And then just some nice Torx bits. So otherwise it's all pretty simple.